Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There it is, so you don't miss any of our football content this season. It has been, if I might say, fantastic. So there's no order we have to go in today. I do want to go back. I want to go to the Chicago-Jacksonville game because I don't know if I've felt this way about the Chicago Bears, and I'm not joking, in a decade. So 35-16 over Jacksonville. Listen, Caleb's gotten better every week, and Jacksonville, Doug Peterson's probably the next coach to get fired. I mean, they don't do anything well. But, John, you start looking at that performance today. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, his confidence, and I think some of that stuff was generated from scheme and play calling. Some of it wasn't. But 23 of 27, 4 TDs, 50% on third down. And by the way, Keenan Allen is back today. I looked at that Chicago team and I'm like, has any other team in the league gotten noticeably better 4 to 5 weeks in a row?
Can I push back a little bit?
Sure.
Because I do think, listen, part of making the playoffs, especially with a team like the Bears who haven't been good in a long time, you're going to have to, you're playing a last place schedule, win games against bad teams. I mean, right. To get to 9-10 wins, 5 of them are going to come against crappy opponents. And they're doing that, so they deserve credit. Their 4 wins come against 4 teams who have each won 1 game, right? The Jags are terrible. The Panthers are probably worse. The Titans are probably worse than both of them. I mean, we're talking bad teams. Now,
right.
This is not college. You don't set your schedule here, so you just play the way it breaks. They play down the stretch. If they do this, some games against the Lions, against Minnesota, I'll be the first to say this would be a scary team in the playoffs. They go a stretch where they basically play 6 divisional games, all starting within in 3 weeks from now with the Packers till the end of the season with the 49ers thrown in there. I'll be very interested to see how they look because we've seen them against one good team this year. Now, like you said, young quarterback, new to the NFL. Listen, I'm not trying to act like you shouldn't put all your eggs in the basket on the game September 10th more than the middle of October with a rookie quarterback, but they got destroyed against the Texans, who are a clear playoff team. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. They clearly have a lot of confidence. The wide receivers, Caleb, to me, he's much, I would say, feels more comfortable throwing the ball downfield.
No, and by the way, he's developed a relationship now with 2 players, Cole Kmet and DJ Moore. He is clearly comfortable. Now, Keenan Allen's probably a progression in 3 weeks, but there is something to be said. Like, he made a couple throws to Cole Kmet today, and it's like, okay, he's found his tight end. He's got his deep threat. Sometimes it takes, like, Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton. Obviously, Bo trusts him, doesn't trust the other guys. I don't know. I kind of look at it and I think to myself, they'll probably go 2-4 against those teams in their division. But I do think.
But if they go 2-4, they're probably in the playoffs because they got some other crappy teams coming up on the schedule. And if they were to beat Washington, I think they play them next week. All of a sudden, you're looking, they would only have to go 2-4. And if they beat, I think they got Seattle late in the year to get to 9 wins. And that's probably a wild card spot. So to me, there's a big difference 2-4 and is 0-6? Because to me, you look at their division, they're the 4th best team.
Obviously, that's the best division. That's the best division now, easily in the NFL.
Which isn't a bad thing to say because you go, well, the Packers obviously are good. The Lions, if they can somehow get a replacement for Hutchinson, are a juggernaut. And the Vikings haven't lost a game and are one of the best coached teams in the league. So I'm torn with them because I tip your hat. You do what you're supposed to do, but they're doing it against the number 1 teams you would want to play for. Like, we need a win this week. You would sign up for the teams they're playing. They play the Patriots in a couple weeks. There's another win.
I will say this. Eberflus is interesting because, like Robert Saleh, I think he's really good on his side of the ball. And the difference is Aaron doesn't extend the pocket like Caleb. And, Caleb today, I just told you the numbers. I mean, he was almost like perfect. Even his post-game interview, like he's confident without being obnoxious. Like, he's getting very comfortable. Even after Justin Fields wins, I felt they were a little bit of a mirage. I'd be like, okay, like today, you're like, today Caleb sat in the pocket, and clearly is connecting with his guys. And I'm like, this is he can sit in the pocket and throw.
Totally agree. And I'm not comparing them to last year's fraudulent wins with the Chicago
Yes.
Bears. I'm just saying that the power of their opponents has a little feel. We're seeing what's happening with Lane and Ole Miss. You watch the first 4 weeks, you're like, gee, this team could go 11-1. All of a sudden, they start playing some better teams, and now you're like, are they going to get to 9-3? And it's because of the talent and I mean the strength of the teams they have to go through, starting with their division and the 49ers. And it's just we've seen them play one good team, and it was I put it more on the coaching staff too. Warner said something that have you ever flown JSX? You ever heard of
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's incredible. And they
Yeah.
use Starlink. I was on the plane today. You could watch it. It was like faster than my TV at my house. And I'm watching the game, and Warner's like, you know what Shane Waldron told me? He doesn't script any plays. And you can tell Warner was it's a little weird. You know, most coaches do the first 15. He's just a feel guy. I'm like, Kyle Shanahan scripts the second half as well at halftime. I mean, most coaches go back to Bill Walsh. So that's just you're a feel coach, offensive guy with a young quarterback, but you Komet, stud, obviously Keenan back, Rome's they've developed a little chemistry, Rome and Caleb, and DJ is a special player. So they just have so many weapons. Can the O-line hold up against the better teams they play and not get Caleb killed, which we saw in the one primetime game?
Yeah.
Because when he's comfortable, some of the touch passes today were not there 3 or 4 weeks ago, regardless who he's throwing against. I agree.
That was he made a throw last week, DJ Moore back to the end zone. That was like a veteran play. That was a Mahomes throw. That was like, okay, that's a big boy throw. Today he wasn't forced into that situation much, but okay, I want to.
Can we have a conversation about the other quarterback though, really quick? It was on the other side. You know, Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence. Well, first of all, that staff, it's not working. You know, Doug Peterson had a reputation, so I was totally wrong. I thought he was a perfect fit, kind of a casual guy. I thought it was going to work. But, you know, when he went to Philadelphia, it worked because Laurie and Howie are so intense. And so they're hovering over the franchise, right? Like, you know that. I mean, everybody in Philly, we know their security guy. And the talk radio is on you if you have one bad situational series. Philadelphia holds its coaches responsible. You go down to Jacksonville, nobody's paying attention, and it's like the worst of Doug Peterson's come out. They're loose. They're not good on details. That was the knock when he went to Philly. It's like, you know, Andy's calling the plays. You know, he loves to give guys ice cream. He's always rewarding him. He's like the stepdad everybody loves. You can't do that in Philadelphia. You'll get your ass wrung out by WIP radio, the fans. I mean, that's it. Philadelphia is one of those cities, they hold you accountable. Jacksonville doesn't. And I think the team just feels loose and inefficient.
I don't disagree with anyone that makes the argument. By the time, if someone's listening to this Monday morning at breakfast, he might get relieved of his duties. I do think, though, watching Trevor Lawrence, like separate from coaching, just to make basic passes. And there were times today where his guys, it's the NFL, had some bad drops. So I'm not acting like this guy's Jamarcus Russell here or Joey Harrington. But for someone that got $200 million based on, I would say, limited production and success, it did feel a little bit like what bad NBA teams do, like the Washington Wizards when they gave Bradley Beal $250 million. And I don't know if this is going to work in that operation.
That's right.
And listen, I think at this point in time, I don't think it's really debatable that his career has been a borderline. I mean, for him, not really. He's made a bunch of money, but as a player, the hype was very similar to Andrew Luck. And you watch the guy play, he's not even in the same, he wasn't even on the same level as Caleb Williams that a lot of people were making fun of like 3 weeks previously.
Oh, Caleb was, you know, there's sometimes, John, something happens where there's a convergence of things, either good or bad. So you have sort of casual, not tight on the details, Doug Peterson, a quarterback who reportedly likes the game, doesn't live for it, a media that's toothless, and a market nobody pays attention to. So if you have a bad series, nobody calls you out. And they've all joined together. And it's what happened. It's why Nick Saban and guys like Nick Saban, after wins, call good press, you know, rat poison, is that everybody acts the same way when they lose. They're pissed. But when you win, Do you get sloppy and lazy? And Jacksonville feels like a sloppy franchise to me. All these things converge. A quarterback that likes the game, but that was the knock. That was the knock very early in his career. Like, he doesn't live for it. He's not obsessed by it. And Breeze was obsessed. Manning was. Mahomes is obsessed. And I just think all these things are adding up to a big soft pillow of a team.
Yeah, to me, just their record speaks for itself since the Cons have owned the family. Just Google where
Yeah.
they've drafted every single year. I mean,
Yeah.
the majority, not the top 10, it's the top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to do.
All right.